call the May 17th meeting of the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals to order, and we're here now to hear a continuation of 021-18 Bad Martha Farmers Brewery, LLC. I think there's anything more in the file to read?
You got a revised plan today based on engineering comments. Kevin will go through briefly the changes. Mr. Patamas is walking through the door.
Okay.
But he does not sit on this one, so.
Right. Jay, when you go past the lights, maybe you'll hit the one so that we can see that.
And Ken, do you want to go through who the voting members are?
So voting members on this are myself, TJ Fury, Ed Van Kuren, Paul Murphy, and Robert Dugan.
Thank you.
It's a continuation, Jerry, that we're hearing now.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah.
Go ahead, Ken.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Clower. I'm an attorney with Ahmed Clower Law Firm here in Falmouth, and I represent Bad Martha Farmers Brewery, LLC, the applicant in this matter. As a brief refresher, my client is a small craft brewer located in Edgartown, and they are looking to replicate their existing location here in Falmouth, essentially. They're looking to construct a new facility which will be used for the uses, which will include the uses of brewing beer, tap room with light fare, and sales for both on and off-site consumption. This is located at 876 East Falmouth Highway on a 2.37 acre parcel, which is located on Route 28 in East Falmouth. The zoning of the site is largely B2 with a very small portion being agriculturally zoned. It's abutted to the west by town property, to the east by Mahoney's, to the north by an undeveloped subdivision which is used as a part of the Mahoney's operation, and directly to the east is a paper road known as Audubon Circle. There have been very few changes to the plan since we were before you last time. When we came to you last time, we had been waiting on site plan review from the planning board, which was held last Tuesday on the date is escaping me, on the 8th. And that review went very well. They have not issued their decision yet, though. They have told us that they had no issues with the plan and that an affirmative decision is coming, but it has not been issued because this Tuesday was election day. So that the next hearing will be on the 22nd. There have been some minor changes to the plan that were submitted.
Is it not working, Kevin?
The house will turn on.
Yeah.
So there have been some.
Is that exactly the same stuff we have here?
That was what was submitted today by
Yeah.
BSS Design, so that should be exactly what you have in front of you. The only changes to the plan were made essentially in response to the engineering comments. So there was a relocation of a utility pole that's been coordinated with Eversource. A van accessible parking space has been added near the brewery entrance, which is located in this area here. The layout of the parking space east of Audubon Circle, we're essentially saying that that's a preliminary layout, but those areas will be striped. And the only other addition of note is this is a small shed which will be used for the controls for the septic. That was not on the plan previously. Previously they had intended to keep it in the building, but just given the nature of it and the size needed in the building and without they're going to establish a small control shed, and that will still meet all the appropriate setback requirements. Other than that, the plans are largely as you've seen previously. And I think at this point, the only thing we're waiting on is the site plan review. So I'd be happy to address any questions you guys might have. And if you were so inclined as to approve it based on the site plan, planning board's preliminary feeling with a condition that it must be approved by it must receive a favorable site plan review, would certainly be amenable to that. And if you want to keep it open until we have that decision in hand, I'd certainly understand that as well. So I would be happy to discuss the
Okay,
options.
let's start and see if anyone has questions, new questions since we last met.
Kevin, just a question on the, on that parking spaces to the east of Audubon Circle. Ken had mentioned last time, was there a way to put some kind of barrier or move that berm down so that the cars parked right at the entrance were?
We're certainly amenable to it, and we just haven't gotten that far with Mahoney's in terms of discussing the exact layout over there. We will discuss is that area. There will obviously, as that site is redeveloped, be some changes, and I just don't think they've hammered out exactly what that's going to be. We're certainly amenable to changing the end island cap there. I don't know what quite to call it, but we're certainly open to changing that. I just don't think we've gotten to that point with Mahoney's, because that's going to be largely their decision too.
Okay. Just something just to separate from the road to the parking
No,
spaces?
I completely understand.
That's all I had. Everything else is fine.
No questions.
I just happened to come by there an hour and a half ago or so, and there seemed to be an awful lot of cars parked like the overflow from Mahoney. Is that a common thing that's going on there?
I don't quite know. I'm not sure what's happening today, if there was an event at Mahoney's, if there was an event at Oysters too.
I didn't turn around and go see, but.
Sure.
There's an event at Mahoney's, I believe.
Huh?
I believe there's an event at
Oh.
Mahoney's.
Oh, okay.
I think it's their
No, other than that, I
yearly
don't have any
thing.
questions.
PJ, anything?
No, just pending site plan review from the planning board, no questions from me.
Nothing.
Okay, so the only comment I'd make, so I did actually go out there and look at it. And I was trying to get a better feeling for exactly where the building is going to be. There were a couple of stakes right at the edge of the pavement, current pavement.
Sure.
That marked building corners. Is that the front of the building?
My understanding, I believe you were probably looking at these stakes back here, which would actually be the rear of the building, because the pavement comes to about this point currently.
About what point?
See where where the right point is.
So
That's
you are
what-
building out into the pavement?
Yes, and we're gonna move further back too. There's quite a bit of land behind
Right,
that that's
I
not
noticed.
currently utilized.
I noticed that. But that's not going to be nice, because that's a vast sea of pavement.
And that's going to be broken up really with this. There's going to be a 3-foot berm here, which is going to be landscaped pretty heavily. So that's going to really break up the view. So instead of now, what you see now is when you look across, there's no real berm here to speak of, and then there's 4 rows of parking essentially going
Right,
back all the way
right.
to, this is the edge of the pavement that you're looking at
Right.
right here. 4 or 5 rows of parking. Instead of looking at that vast sea of pavement, what you'll end up with is 1 row of parking, and then you'll look back at
Some
landscaping
landscaping.
here, the building, the patio, and then, additional space back here. It's
Right.
going to be a really significant improvement to the site.
Right. So I think the main thing that, at least I was concerned with, and I think some others, was getting the landscape plan a little more fleshed out, which I
So-
think is something you're probably doing through the site plan review
So
process.
we did, and I'm happy to show you what we. This is what was submitted to site plan review, and what we've said to them and what our feeling and belief is that really what we want to do is make this an extension of the landscaping that's already done in the Mahoney's lot. Now, if you come up, if you went by today, you'll see that that berm in front of Mahoney's is stunningly landscaped.
Yeah.
And in working with Mahoney's, our intent is to essentially make this an extension of that same landscape design. So we have probably the best neighbor in town in terms of coming up with an appropriate landscape. So, we've shown some trees, we've shown some planting areas, we've shown some berms, the actual flower and planting, and, I'd rather leave that to people who know what they're doing.
Right. Are there, so on the, let's see, on the west side of Oysters 2,
Mm-hmm.
where all that parking is currently, now that right now is all vegetated, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And I remember asking you if any of those, what I thought were fairly significant cedars might be relocated, but have
So-
you thought about that? Is that
We have, I think they want to preserve as much as they can, and they want to preserve as much of the on-site stuff as they can. It's just hard to say right now, because we're looking at a pretty drastic pretty drastic site work to the area. So it's hard to say what's going to be able to be transplanted within the site at this point, because even when stuff's being done over here, they won't be done with the work in this area, they won't be done with the work in this area. So I think they're certainly open to trying to preserve as much as they can, but I just can't. It's without knowing the projection for timelines and when the work's being done, it's hard to say.
Okay, so my last question for you is, when we were looking at the plan today, you have lot coverage information for what's proposed, but I didn't see anything for what exists on the plan. So I'm just wondering how lot coverage is changing.
It's not on existing or proposed, Kevin? I don't believe.
I, of course, did not
So
bring-
it's on the second page, there's the
I, of course, did not
tabulation.
bring the physical copies with me.
Right, well, there's a tabulation on the second page,
Mhm.
which, shows the coverage of what's proposed, I think.
Yes.
But it doesn't, there's no comparison with what exists. And I just, normally we see that.
Understood, and I don't have that number with me at the
Right.
moment.
So just something for when we, I think we're gonna, at least my preference would be to continue it until we get a definitive site plan decision. And when you come back, I think that
So-
would be good information.
So one, my request, to the extent you're willing to entertain it, is, we're expecting to have the decision on Tuesday, and we will be asking for a continuance on the T-ticket car wash matter for next week. So, I'll be here anyways next week, and if
We
this board-
discussed May 24th, but again, you were going to talk with your client because Mr. Murphy will not be here.
we'll be requesting an extension for that other matter for the 24th.
Right, I realize that.
So, but I think,
But this.
based on what I've seen, I think I'd be comfortable moving forward with 4 unless
Okay.
anyone's going to really surprise me.
Okay, so
Alright.
you'd be happy to have a motion to continue to the 24th?
Yes.
For this?
Yes.
Okay, so if the board is so inclined, I would entertain such a motion.
I'll make a motion to extend it to the 24th of June.
No,
Oh,
not June.
Yeah.
Hey,
May
May,
24th.
here in Town Hall at 6:30, is it? 3?
We have a continuation at 6, so if you'd please make it at 6.
6, okay, it's 6.
okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so TJ seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Or not? Okay,
Thank
so
you.
Thank you.
That wraps this one up for now. And we have quite a few hearings tonight. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We've got
That
5
don't
hearings.
start until 6:30, so we have 15 minutes here that we could do something constructive with. If someone wants to move, that we take some of the open meeting
Out of order.
process out of order.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to take the open meeting agenda items out of order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so let's begin with the minutes of May 3rd. Everyone had a chance to look at these?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone happy with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I take a motion to approve.
I would like to move to approve the minutes of May 3rd, 2018 as drafted.
Okay, all in favor? Is there a
Aye.
second? Sorry, we need a second.
Second.
Okay, we got that? So we got TJ and Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Have
And
TJ sign those? Or Kim?
Kim's gonna be here in a minute.
She
so-
can't, she was not
Oh,
present.
she was not here.
So TJ will scratch out her name and
Okay, that's fine.
I'll do it, that's all right.
Okay, and then we have a administrative approval request to allow temporary dome sculpture exhibit
This is going to be
at
at
Highfield Hall.
Highfield Hall. This is the letter from the Dome at Woods Hole.
And I-
They are a nonprofit educational group. However, Highfield Hall, I don't have a designation of them being educational, otherwise it would be a different story. So
So
I'm
this
asking the board
says
to.
zoning board of appeals, the Dome and Woods Hole Inc., a nonprofit education corporation, has been commissioned by Highfield Hall and Gardens to install a temporary geodesic dome directly behind the main building on June 2nd. It says June 2nd, 2018 to October 15th, 2018. We are requesting administrative review and approval of a special permit for this installation by the zoning board of appeals as soon as possible. Complete architectural and site plans have been submitted along with supporting narrative and documentation.
This is the site plan. There's the building, there's the dome. You
That's
can
it.
see that it's away. This is the dome plan.
Looks like a dome?
And,
Yeah.
good call.
Why is it temporary?
There
What, are they
you
gonna
go.
take it back down?
It's an exhibit, basically,
Oh.
yes. Uh-huh.
Is it an actual structure? It says
Yeah.
it has,
Yes.
egress points.
So it's just a geodesic dome that they're gonna put up?
Yes, and here's the materials
there you go.
list.
Just like the dome.
Is it a model of the former restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Which is falling into wreck and ruin.
Is it still up?
Apparently, it's still up, and
Is the
they-
dome still
they're
there?
using it as a, an arts.
Want to make a museum out of it.
Oh.
So I'm asking the
Okay.
board to administratively approve this, please.
Okay, so you want a motion to that effect?
I'd like to,
Yep.
I'd
So,
like,
anybody want to make that?
yeah, I'll
Jerry?
make a motion to approve the temporary dome location.
Second.
Okay, Paul and Ed, all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
So approved.
all done.
Do you want to call that vote, or are you saying it for the whole board? It was first and seconded, so,
Yeah, didn't I call it?
no,
I did. Oh, I thought I did.
no.
All in favor?
Aye.
At least I didn't hear it.
Approved. Unanimous.
Thank you. And
Sorry.
on the next item, I don't have the draft yet.
Of the procedural rules.
Yes, that the
Okay.
board had
So we're
discussed
still waiting
previously.
on Kim for that, is that correct?
Correct.
We have to give her a hard time.
Well, she's been very, very busy with an
And
appeal, so.
any future agenda items that we should be thinking about?
Keep in mind, at the end of, well, no, the first hearing in July, which I believe is July 12th, you will reorganize, so keep in mind that it is time to reorganize the board shortly.
Okay.
Chairman, any update on the accessory apartment? I've heard different rumors from different people.
I have that on the May
Next
24th
week.
schedule because it wasn't on this agenda, so we can't talk about it.
Given an update?
No. I
Okay,
don't have
but just a
board comments.
reminder to the board that Robert is our representative on that working group, and
I've asked him to give a report next
hopefully
week.
you'll come back with a thorough report. And then, is there a deadline for the work on this?
I believe they're talking about in June, but again, it's not on the agenda.
Okay, I'm just thinking that if we get something from Robert, maybe that's an opportunity for us to have some
Well,
input.
Also,
Prior
it'll
to-
create a new bylaw, so you'll have input at the hearing and prior to the hearing, so.
But it's always good to do it before they
Yep.
write it down. Okay,
So if you'd like to take a 10-minute
all
break.
right, we'll take a recess, reconvene at 6:30.
6:30.